Welcome, everybody, to week 4. We are almost halfway through this class, if you can believe that. I think time is flying. I don't know about you. And in the last couple of weeks, you've spent some time thinking about your research question and really kind of zeroing in on what it is you want to explore and argue for or against in your paper. This week, you're going to kind of start building a draft of your paper in the form of an outline. One thing I want to note is that you must have this outline done by Thursday because you will be posting it in your discussion this week in order to complete a peer review. So make sure you plan accordingly and get that in by Thursday. And then your goal this week is going to be to read a couple of your classmates' outlines and provide some feedback to them. So a couple things I want to mention about that. One is if you just tell them it's great, that's not helpful for them. So I want you to really remember that you're not expected to be a teacher here in your comments, but be a reader. When you read through the outline, does it make sense? Does the argument seem to be organized logically? Are there things that are missing that you think would be important to this argument, or is the structure feeling kind of off or confusing? Asking questions can be a really good way to provide feedback to a writer. So, what does this mean? Or what did you mean when you said this? I didn't quite understand it. Those kinds of questions can be really helpful. So think about that and really try to provide some comprehensive feedback to your classmates. Please do not generate AI feedback for your classmates without even reading their outlines. They spend some time, significant time, looking at your outline and giving you feedback and thinking carefully about it. And so I think we all kind of deserve that kind of response in return. The other thing is that when you read through your classmates' outlines, think about what are they doing that you might be able to use. Maybe you could get some ideas to help shape your draft. For example, maybe you really like the way they structure their outline, or you like the way that they worded their thesis statement, and you might be able to get some ideas from that. So it's not just about providing feedback to them. This can also help you kind of tailor what you're doing. So that's that. So let me go through a little bit about what this persuasive outline should look like. There's a template for this outline. It is in the resources page of this module. So make sure you pull that up. It'll open in a Word document. And then I've got a sample outline here, which I'll give you a link to in this announcement, so you can take a look at it. But this is essentially what your outline is going to look like. It is more than just a few words per line. You want to write in full sentences and be as comprehensive as you can in this outline, because the more you put into this, the easier it's going to be to turn this into a first draft. I like to think of the outline as basically the first draft minus all the fluff. So really get down to the nuts and bolts. This is what I'm presenting. This is the context. This is the thesis, without the catchy, engaging introduction, without the transitions between paragraphs. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff, but just really, really zero in on what is going to be the meat of your argument. So that's what we're looking for in the outline. So you can see this one has a couple of sentences for each area. It's got this complete thesis statement. I will post some resources to help you with thesis statements if you need a refresher on those. But essentially, you want to make sure that your thesis statement tells your reader exactly what you plan to present, what argument you plan to present in your paper, and the reasons why you believe that argument to be true. Okay, so it should not be wishy-washy, right? It shouldn't say I'm going to explore this and this, or I'm going to look at both sides of this topic. It should make a clear case for one or the other. And then you're going to go through here and fill out your outline in terms of your paragraphs. The way that this outline is structured for you is a standard 5-paragraph essay, which you probably wrote in high school. You don't need to keep this structure, so please feel free to break it. Now that you're writing at a college level, you should be thinking about how you want to convey your argument, in what order you want to present information. Some of your arguments might be more than one paragraph, and that's fine. You could have a 2-paragraph introduction or a 2-paragraph conclusion. You might spend an entire paragraph or 2 addressing the counter argument, if it's a pretty strong counter argument or a pretty popular thing, or there's multiple counter arguments and you need to address them all. This outline kind of incorporates the counter argument into each body paragraph, but you don't necessarily need to do that. Okay, so you think about it, think about what makes sense for your topic in the way that you write. But you should have at least, at a minimum, these 5 paragraphs. So you're going to go through each of your body paragraphs. You're going to think about what your topic sentence is. So what is it that I'm going to say in this paragraph? What's the point I'm trying to make? And then what might people say to kind of argue against it? Maybe if you're going to include that directly in your body paragraph, or you can save it for its own section. And then maybe you have an example or a piece of evidence you want to share. And then you kind of tie it back up into that topic sentence. And that's how you wrap up a paragraph. So that's sort of I like to call it sort of an argument cheeseburger, where this is your bun, the top and bottom. And then in the middle is sort of the meat of the argument. So you're going to do that for all of your arguments, and then put in some basic ideas as to what you might use in your conclusion. Some good ideas for a conclusion include a call to action. So if there's something you want people to do, maybe you're arguing for funding for something and people can make a donation somewhere, and you want them to do that, or you want them to write a letter to their congressperson, or whatever it may be. If there is something people can do if they believe you at the end of this paper, that's a great thing to include in a conclusion. Maybe you want to leave them with a question or something to think about. So you want to kind of restate what you've said in the paper in a summary, but you also want to leave them with something more than that. So think about that, what that's going to look like for you. And that's basically it for this outline. So if you have any questions after you've looked at this video and gone through the other resources that I'm posting for you, please feel free to reach out. Make sure you get this in by Thursday so you can get some feedback on it, and have a great week.